Hillary Clinton has called Trump supporters Nazis, but has declared that she admires that new Italian leader who the left say is a fascist. And also, though, aren't there Nazis fighting for the Ukraine? So we ask, what is a fascist? And is it okay to like some fascists? Or is fascist just a convenient term to bring down people you don't agree with? Hello there, you 5.9 million awakening wonders. Thank you for joining me on this voyage towards truth and freedom, embracing the complexity that we find along the way, that we may be united in this new truth. If you don't subscribe yet, subscribe right now. Turn on that notification bell, because you know the algorithm's against us. You know they're banning us on this platform. And you know that if you want us unexpurgated, uncensored, unedited, join us every day on Rumble at these times. We're there every day now. You'll get these videos first, you'll get the stream, and the streams are crazy, funny, silly. We have fantastic guests. It's a brilliant show. You'll love it. See you there. But for now, let's get into this story. You fascists. So, Hillary Clinton has compared Trump supporters to Nazis because of the finger bob salute. But you know there are Nazis, don't you, fighting out of the Ukraine. And also she has praised new female Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, which sounds like a child's made-up name for an Italian person. Hey, Giorgia Meloni, President of Italia. She praised her for being a woman, but being a fascist. So, what is it then? The left says she's a fascist. I'm not saying she's a fascist. I don't know. And in fact, we're not going to cover that in this video. What we're covering in this video is who gets called a fascist, why, and when. Because it's complicated, isn't it? Trump supporters are fascists. They're right in your country. Ukrainian soldiers that literally say, I'm a Nazi on tattoos on their body can go Disney World and get like awards off Jon Stewart. And also, Meloni, she's praised for being a woman, even though she's also a fascist. So what is the problem with fascism? Fascism is a serious thing. I'm anti-fascist. The fact is that the political ideology we need to be concerned about is neoliberalism, which I would define loosely as the pose of social liberalism. Hey, you can be free, be who you want to be, do what you want, the individual is important. Meanwhile, allowing economic power to carry on unchecked, allowing it to cross borders, evade taxation, and organising the state to facilitate the interests of corporations, all the while going, oh, we care about this vulnerable person, we care about that vulnerable person. That's what I think neoliberalism is. We live in a neoliberalist world, and I'm a neoliberalist girl. Former Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton has slammed the hand gestures made by supporters of Donald Trump at his Ohio rally, comparing them to Nazis. Now look, Nazis are definitely bad, but don't you think that what they're probably doing is going, see, that's the sort of thing a Nazi would do, and therefore we can disparage them, rather than having a genuine concern. Oh no, they're Nazis, they're actual Nazis. There are families where there are Trump supporters and Democrats in the same family. We've all got, like, once you say someone's a Nazi, do you know what you're saying? We don't have to deal with you. We don't have to talk to you. You're out. You're out of the conversation. Simon says, Nazi, you're out. We don't have to talk to you no more. But if Trump supporters are so bad, why, as we've told you before on this channel, why are the Democrats funding MAGA candidates in primaries in order that, the reason is, if we fund this sort of MAGA candidate, then our Democrat candidate will eventually face a lame duck candidate and more Democrats will win. But if you truly believe these are Nazis, you wouldn't take the risk, would you? Particularly as Hillary initially supported measures that would highlight Trump's campaign because they thought that, this guy, he's never going to win anything. What I'm saying is if you're serious about fascism and you're serious about Nazis, don't spend penny one on supporting their campaigns. That's a pretty serious allegation. Millions and millions of people died is a really heavy thing to call someone. Don't just say it because they've done something funny with their finger. Don't say if you've got boobies, it's okay to be a Nazi. If you're a Nazi, that is not good. And we are dealing with complexity because obviously we're pro-Ukraine in their fight against Russia, and that fight includes, like it or lump it, Nazis. Mrs. Clinton, who was speaking at the Texas Tribune Festival in Austin, said her reaction to the index finger salute seen at the rally was similar to how she used to feel about Nazis. Adding, what's going on? I used to feel that about Nazis. I used to see that and I think, I don't like that. And then I see that, been here before. I mean, yeah, they've got rid of these three, but it's still not good, is it? Also, the problem with the Nazis, that wasn't the problem with the Nazis, was it? If anything, that was a side effect, or just like that was a badge of honour for the Nazis. If they'd just done that, and none of the other stuff, the murders, the expansionism, the homicides and the genocides, I wouldn't have minded that. I mean, that's not bad, I don't think. And that, even less bad. Like, Don't muddle it all up. Nazism is, in my opinion, it's creating a group of others and then enacting a genocide against that other group in order to facilitate the advancement of a whole set of other goals. The bit about doing that, yeah, take it or leave it. But let's see, because, right, I'm going to warn you now, we're going to watch this, but watch out, because it could make you go a bit nuts. Look, I'm feeling a bit Nazier, even, but that's better.
Hillary Clinton once again taking aim at former President Trump and his supporters, this time comparing his Ohio rally to a Nazi rally.
I bet what it was is he says about, okay, everyone hold a finger in the air and just think of one person you love. It'd be something like that, wouldn't it? It'd be just some sort of rhetorical device. It wouldn't have been, let's be a bit Nazi, but only 1/5 as Nazi as we could be.
I remember as a young student, you know, trying to figure out how did people get basically drawn in by Hitler.
Here's a comparison you might want to make about Nazi Germany, that those figures rose out of socio-economic crises induced by a globalist agenda. That's what brought that about. Hyperinflation, anybody? Wars in Europe. Neoliberalism is a political and economic agenda that advantages elites, centralizes financial and indeed political power, and leads to the rise of far right, far left, because Stalin was no great shakes, nor was Mao, figure also. So if you want to prevent extremism, what you have to have is a functional democracy. Not a democracy where you highlight Trump in order to ensure that your own party, in this case the Democrat Party, can neglect ordinary blue-collar Americans of all hues, colours and persuasions. In fact, when a figure like Bernie Sanders, who I know some of you don't like and some of you do, rises up crushing that dude, because he was saying things like, control the banks, have a proper representative democracy, whether you like Bernie Sanders or not. That's what he was saying. He was a leftist, populist figure who I'm sure isn't perfect because he's operating within that system. But what I will tell you is that Hillary Clinton and her acolytes and her hegemonist Democrat pals crushed that dude, highlighted Trump, because she wanted to be the president.
You saw the rally in Ohio the other night. Trump is there ranting and raving for more than an hour.
More than an hour? He's doing a rally. It's a free country. Oh, God. 45 minutes is enough for a rally. I'd be fainting and passing out after about half hour. Yeah, that's part of the problem, mate.
And you have these rows of young men.
Pooh, young man, sweaty pits, dangle, dangle, ding-dongs, stinky arms up in the air. That's all it takes. I really enjoy this guy's videos. He's brilliant, isn't he? But wouldn't you like even more of him? As you know, we are streaming every day on Rumble at these times. Now, if you are a fan of our podcast, Under the Skin, you've got to become a member of Stay Free AF. That is our community where you get even more fantastic content as a member. We're creating more free content than ever and better paid for content than you could ever imagine. We've already done interviews with Vandana Shiva, Wim Hof, Gabor Mate, Noam Chomsky. Coming up, we're going to be speaking to Donald, Bernie, Elon. I'll give you the surnames once we confirm the interviews. All of these interviews will be available on Stay Free AF, as well as my stand-up special that's going to drop in December, our community film, and opportunities to join me for live events regularly throughout the year. Stay free as fuck. There's a link below to join. I think using the spectre of 20th century fascism in order to avoid confronting the inefficiency of contemporary neoliberalism is the real crime here. If you want people not to be drawn to what you regard as extremism, then present alternatives and options instead of increasing the social tensions, exacerbating existing cultural conflicts, pretending that Trump is worse than he is. Anybody that knows anybody knows there's people that like Donald Trump that are all right. It's not the same as saying, I think that you should execute people on the basis of their religion or a pre-existing template of what a human being should be. It's not the same thing. Whether you like Donald Trump or don't like Donald Trump, comparing him to a Nazi is illegitimate, it's wrong, and it's a way of avoiding your own political shortcomings. And that's the real problem.
Young men with their arms raised.
The finger salute at the rally made by dozens of Mr. Trump supporters made headlines inviting comparisons to gestures seen at an evangelical conference to the so-called QAnon salute, and even with the Nazi Sieg Heil. Some, however, argued it was simply a reference to Mr. Trump's America First slogan. So there's various things it could have been, and if you go with the worst possible interpretation, it's difficult not to imagine that that is somehow for political gain, particularly if you're willing to praise Giorgia Meloni, who some say, particularly on the left, is a far-right politician. Certainly she's praised Mussolini. And if you're willing to support Ukrainian troops that are literal, explicitly Nazi, it shows that there's a degree of complexity and certainly invites the question, do you just call people fascists and Nazis so that you can malign, marginalise them and disengage from conversation, which is the one thing you actually need to do, engage in conversation? Has fascism simply become a kind of bullet to end conversation, to end debate? And if that is the case, and I suspect it is, then that's the last thing America and the world need right now. What they need are open arms, open discourse. A lot of people are frustrated. A lot of people are angry because of the failings of neoliberalism. People are willing to look at ethno-nationalist, populist ideas. They're attracted by brilliant public orators like Donald Trump, and that's our fault. We should do better. Meanwhile, Clinton has claimed that Giorgia Meloni becoming Italy's first woman prime minister will open doors for women. Yeah, fascist women. What do you want? Hitler with tits? Hitler! Interviewed for the country's leading daily, Il Corriere della Sera, she spoke of the very powerful forces who threaten democracy, from Russian cyber attacks to Donald Trump-style demagoguery. But commenting on Meloni, who's been labelled fascist, Clinton said, every time a woman is elected to head of state or government, a fairy gets its wings. No, that's a step forward. She continues, I never agreed with Margaret Thatcher, but I admired her determination, she added, referring to the British Prime Minister who played an instrumental role in advancing the neoliberal counter-revolution in the United Kingdom. To pretend that there is no direct link between the policies of Margaret Thatcher and the policies of the Clintons is ridiculous. Margaret Thatcher, when asked what was her greatest achievement, answered, Tony Blair, meaning that from that point on, you couldn't have an old school left-wing politician. You couldn't have that anymore. Tony Blair was conservatism or republicanism light. That's what she regarded as a great achievement. And when you look at that more broadly, what it suggests is that beyond apparent bipartisan politics, there is an ideology, it's called neoliberalism, which encompasses both of those apparently separate parties in a way that makes them kind of redundant. Their differences are not that important. That's why they want you to argue about things like gender identity, racial identity, cultural values, tradition versus progressivism, because while you're doing that, very powerful financial interests and state interests are getting on with business as usual. You don't need me to tell you that, but I am telling you that because it's my job. Thanks in no small part to Clinton and her husband, former US President Bill Clinton, Thatcher's free market ideology and upwardly redistributive policies such as privatisation, pro-corporate trade deals and deregulation of the financial industry also took hold in the United States, worsening inequality and aiding the ascent of reactionaries like Trump. So there you go. Is the real problem fascism, or is the real problem neoliberalism that means apparent partisan distinctions are redundant and irrelevant and ordinary people have got nowhere to go and blindly grope for some sort of solution, and apparently gifted orators offering populist solutions will be more attractive? Isn't that what should be addressed, rather than going around saying someone's fascist because of the way their fingers move about? I would say it bloody well is. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at either of these. Sign up to our mailing list now. Remember, we stream every single day on Rumble at 5. Bigger, better show. In this video, for example, we'll go into the things that the Democrat Party have done in depth. We'll be getting expert opinions from people around the world that know the score on this stuff. Stay free with Russell Brand every day at 5 on Rumble. Stay free.